My name is Riley Thompson. I was never the kind of person who believed in online friendships, let alone love. But during the winter of 2021, in the middle of a snowstorm and a semester break, I downloaded an app called Book Talk, a community for people who loved discussing classic novels. I wasn't expecting much, maybe a few book recommendations. Then I saw a comment on one of my posts from someone named Jay. He had replied with a quote from a lesser-known author I adored. That's how it began, a message, a shared interest, a feeling that someone, somewhere, understood the way I saw the world. We started chatting about books, then music, then life. Days turned into weeks, and our conversations became the highlight of my everyday. I didn't know what this bond was becoming, but I knew it was growing stronger with each message. Jay's real name was Jamie Carter. He lived nearly 2,000 miles away in Oregon while I was in Pennsylvania. He worked remotely as a graphic designer and often shared photos of the nature trails near his cabin. I loved the way he described things. He didn't just tell me what he saw, he made me feel it. Our conversations moved from text to voice messages, then to video calls. I remember the first time I saw his face. He looked nothing like I expected, and yet everything felt right. There was a calmness in his smile, a kindness in his voice. We would talk for hours about everything and nothing, from favorite childhood snacks to what made us feel safe. There was no pressure, no expectations, just a pure emotional connection that neither of us had planned for. Months passed and our bond deepened. Jamie and I had developed a rhythm: morning messages, evening video calls, weekend movie nights online. We'd both sync a film, press play, and chat while watching. It felt surprisingly real. My friends were curious, my parents skeptical. "You haven't even met him," they'd say. But I felt like I knew Jamie better than some people I saw daily. One day, he surprised me by sending a small package. My mom didn't know what to do with it until she saw it. One day, he surprised me by sending a small pack. Inside was a hand-drawn bookmark, a pine cone from one of his hikes, and a note: "For the girl who reminds me that words still matter." My heart swelled. It wasn't a grand gesture, but it meant everything. That day, I realized this wasn't just a friendship anymore. This was something real, something quietly beautiful. After nearly 8 months of chatting daily, Jamie suggested we meet in person. I was both excited and terrified. What if the magic didn't translate offline? But something deep inside nudged me to say yes. We chose a quiet cafe halfway between our cities. I arrived early, nervously watching the door. When he walked in, holding a book instead of flowers, I smiled without meaning to. It wasn't a dramatic movie moment, just simple, real. We talked like old friends, the hours slipping by unnoticed. We walked in the park afterward, not holding hands, but walking in sync. As the sun began to set, Jamie looked at me and said, "This feels right." And honestly, it did. It felt natural, peaceful, like we had already lived these moments before, just waiting to meet again. Jamie stayed in town for 4 days. We didn't plan grand adventures, we just existed together. We visited bookstores, tried new desserts, and even sat in silence without discomfort. That's when I realized something deeper. Love didn't always need sparks. Sometimes it came quietly, like sunlight through curtains. On the final evening, we sat beside the lake, legs crossed, watching ducks glide past. Jamie pulled out a small notebook and read a poem he wrote for me. Nothing over the top, just simple lines about comfort, trust, and how talking to me felt like coming home. I didn't cry. I just listened, heart full. Before leaving, he said, "No pressure, but I'd love to see you again. In real time, not just online." I nodded. Me too. And for the first time, goodbye didn't feel like an ending. It felt like part of the beginning. We returned to long distance, but now with memories stitched into our bond. There was a new layer, familiarity. His laugh in my head wasn't just imagined anymore. I had heard it echo across a coffee shop. We started planning short visits every other month. Each time we met, it felt more normal. The spaces between visits didn't feel empty. They were filled with messages, video calls, shared playlists, and weekend cooking challenges. Once, we cooked the same recipe together over video, and both failed hilariously. We laughed for 20 minutes straight. Slowly, our conversation shifted from someday to maybe next year, and then to what if we lived in the same city? It wasn't a rush. It was a shared curiosity, a wondering that maybe this bond deserved a shared zip code. In the spring of the next year, Jamie moved to my city, not for me, but for us. We found a small apartment near a quiet park. The adjustment wasn't always smooth. He liked music in the mornings. I preferred silence. I took forever to organize the pantry. He unpacked in a day, but even in our differences, we practiced patience. On difficult days, we'd step outside and walk, not to escape, but to reconnect. When the days stopped, Ashley would practice. We learned that living together wasn't about being the same. It was about listening and growing. I still remember the night we built our first piece of furniture, an uneven shelf that we never fixed. We kept it as a reminder. Love isn't flawless. It's honest. And in those honest moments, messy, quiet, real. We found the roots of something lasting. One calm Sunday morning, while sipping coffee on the balcony, Jamie turned to me and said, "What if we just made it official?" I laughed. "Like, married?" He nodded, eyes gentle. "Not a big wedding, just a simple promise." That week, we signed the papers at City Hall, dressed in casual clothes with our 2 friends as witnesses. There were no rehearsals, no speeches, just quiet smiles and a moment that felt sacred. Later, we celebrated with pizza and a movie at home. It wasn't glamorous, but it was us. My mom sent a handmade card, his sister baked us a cake, and just like that, we were married. No stress, no spotlight, just a choice made from the heart. And sometimes that's all love needs, a decision made softly but surely. Marriage didn't change everything, but it did deepen things. We continued our little traditions: Sunday pancakes, book club Fridays, silent tea breaks. Every month, we'd write each other one letter, even though we lived together. It became our ritual. On our first anniversary, we read those letters out loud under fairy lights on our balcony. Jamie's voice shook a little as he read about how our digital friendship became a lifelong chapter. I teared up reading mine, recalling our very first online chat. In that moment, I understood something. Real love isn't about being swept off your feet. It's about being held steady through changes, through growth, through seasons of both silence and song. Now, when people ask how we met, we smile and say, "We were internet strangers once." Some chuckle, others look surprised, but to us, it's a reminder that beautiful things can bloom in unexpected places. We still work, still disagree over what to order for dinner, still get lost in bookstores, but we also laugh more. We slow down more. Sometimes I watch Jamie watering our plants or scribbling silly notes in the margins of our grocery list, and I think, this is love. Not loud, not flashy, but deeply present every single day. From one comment online to this life we built together. It's a story I never saw coming, but one I now can't imagine living without.